As we pull away from the intersection of Peebles Road and make the deliberate left turn, completely leaving the quiet, heavily shaded residential canopy of McCandless Township behind, prepare yourself for a drastic, almost jarring shift in the atmosphere. Settle deep into your seat, take a long breath, and look out through the windshield. We are embarking on a highly transitional, perfectly timed 9-minute journey. We are merging directly onto the southbound lanes of McKnight Road, heading straight into the massive, roaring commercial heart of the northern Pittsburgh suburbs. The quiet, winding country lanes are gone. You are now driving on one of the most heavily trafficked, heavily developed, and infamous stretches of asphalt in all of western Pennsylvania. Look out at the massive, sprawling retail landscape rising up on both sides of the glass. Today, McKnight Road is an absolute endless canyon of commerce. As far as the eye can see, the valley is completely choked with massive shopping plazas, glowing neon signs, towering billboards, endless car dealerships, and a constant, chaotic, heavy river of brake lights. But to truly understand the sheer magnitude of what you are looking at right now, you have to completely strip away the concrete, the fast food marquees, and the multi-lane traffic, and look at the actual shape of the earth beneath us. We are driving through the absolute bottom of a deep, ancient ravine known as the Gertie's Run Valley. For centuries, this was a massive, untamed, deeply forested wilderness, completely defined by the rushing waters of the creek that still secretly flows in concrete culverts directly beneath our tires. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, this specific valley was a quiet, sprawling agricultural haven. It was completely dominated by massive dairy farms, heavy apple orchards, and a few rugged, muddy plank roads that early farmers used to drag their crops down to the city markets. If you were looking out this exact window in 1930, you would not see a single traffic light. You would see rolling green pastures, heavy wooden barns, and the quiet, isolating darkness of the Pennsylvania woods. But everything completely and violently changed in the years immediately following the Second World War, when the federal government began pushing the concept of the modern American highway, and the massive chrome-finned automobile became the ultimate symbol of middle-class freedom. The massive population of Pittsburgh began to desperately flee the dense, aging, soot-covered neighborhoods of the city. They looked north, straight up into this quiet valley, and the developers followed them. In the 1950s, the quiet dirt paths were paved over, and the very first massive modern shopping centers were constructed right here on the valley floor. It was the absolute dawn of the American suburban retail boom. As we continue to cruise south, passing the local fast food restaurants, including the Wendy's coming up on your right, look at how the commercial architecture has aggressively carved its way right into the sides of the steep hills. The earth was literally blasted and bulldozed to create these massive flat parking lots. McKnight Road did not just grow, it exploded. It became the absolute, undisputed retail artery for the entire northern half of Allegheny County. Today, locals affectionately and sometimes frustratingly refer to this chaotic, constantly congested stretch of highway as the McKnightmare. The sheer volume of vehicles pouring in and out of the massive shopping malls and big box stores creates a frantic, high-energy, completely inescapable rhythm of modern suburban life. Keep your eyes on the road ahead as we navigate the sweeping curves of the valley. For the next several minutes, we are going to ride this heavy wave of traffic, maintaining our lane as the road dips and rises. You can feel the heavy functional gravity of this highway. It is a massive funnel. Every morning, tens of thousands of commuters from all the quiet, leafy townships we explored earlier pour down onto this exact road, creating a massive, roaring river of steel and glass, all desperately pushing their way south toward the towering skyscrapers of downtown Pittsburgh. And every evening that massive river reverses, fighting its way back up the valley. It is the absolute defining mechanical heartbeat of the northern suburbs. As we push further south, approaching the 4-mile mark of our journey, the landscape out the windshield begins to undergo a massive, highly noticeable compression. We need to keep left to stay on the main alignment of McKnight Road. Notice how the wide, sprawling, massive retail lots are slowly beginning to vanish. The steep, heavily forested hillsides of the ravine are suddenly pressing in much tighter against the edges of the highway. The sky, which was wide open just a few minutes ago, is starting to feel incredibly narrow. We are leaving the sprawling post-war suburbs and crossing the invisible boundary back into the much older, tighter, and heavier geography of the city limits. We are transitioning now, seamlessly gliding from McKnight Road onto Evergreen Road. The chaotic glowing neon of the retail corridor completely evaporates behind us, replaced by older, weathered brick buildings, steep retaining walls, and the dense vertical architecture that defines the outer neighborhoods of Pittsburgh. The road twists sharply, completely at the mercy of the ancient topography. You can feel the intense, heavy history of the city reaching out to grab the vehicle. As we follow the curve and Evergreen Road suddenly becomes East Street. Look up at the sky directly ahead of us. The horizon is completely dominated by massive, towering heavy concrete overpasses. We are driving directly into the massive structural shadow of Interstate 279, locally known as the Parkway North. But as you look at those massive, soaring concrete pillars and the roaring highway suspended in the air above us, you have to confront the absolutely devastating, deeply heartbreaking history of the specific ground we are rolling over right now. You are driving into the historic East Street Valley. For over a century, the ground outside your window was not a highway interchange. It was one of the most vibrant, densely packed, and culturally rich immigrant neighborhoods in all of Western Pennsylvania. It was a massive working-class community settled by generations of German, Croatian, and Polish immigrants who worked in the nearby tanneries and mills. This valley was packed shoulder to shoulder with thousands of beautiful, intricate Victorian homes, corner bakeries, local taverns, and massive brick churches whose steeples pierced the sky. But in the 1980s, the relentless march of modern progress demanded a faster route from the northern suburbs directly into the city. The government utilized eminent domain to completely obliterate the East Street Valley. It was one of the largest and most controversial public works displacements in the history of the region. Over 2,000 historic homes were completely leveled by bulldozers. Massive, beautiful churches were torn down piece by piece. Whole generations of families who had lived on these streets were forced to pack up their lives and leave forever. The vibrant, loud, deeply connected community of the East Street Valley was completely wiped off the map, replaced by the massive, cold, highly efficient concrete trench of the highway you see above you today. As our 9-minute journey finally comes to its deliberate end, and the forward momentum of the vehicle slows on the pavement of East Street, right at the geographic coordinates of our destination, take a long, final look at the massive concrete infrastructure surrounding us. Over the last 9 minutes, you have traveled through an incredible sweeping timeline of American development. You have looked out over the massive, roaring, chaotic retail explosion of the post-war suburban boom. You have traced the ancient water-carved path of Gertie's Run, and you have driven straight into the heavy, bittersweet, and deeply permanent scars of urban renewal. You have witnessed the relentless, unforgiving speed of the modern world, built directly on top of the ghosts of the past. Thank you for taking this profound, perfectly paced journey with me and watching the deep, heavy history of Pittsburgh unfold right outside your glass.